Hi there, and welcome to today's webinar, Marketing Your Beauty and Wellness Brand 101. Today, we're here to help you kickstart your marketing journey for your brand, whether you're looking for guidance on how to launch or are wanting to ramp up your brand's presence and create more sales opportunities. This webinar will walk you through how to market your brand for success. Before we get started, please note this webinar is recorded and you will receive a copy of the recording emailed to you after the event. You'll notice there'll be some interactive polls, pop-ups, and resources shared in the right-hand panel of the webinar. Please feel free to interact with those as it helps us to get to know you better, and feel free to bookmark any of the additional resources that we share for later. Lastly, you'll see that you can chat with us through the webinar and ask questions using the chat feature. We'll hopefully answer most of your questions throughout the webinar, but of course, feel free to write them in a chat, and a team member will get back to you shortly. My name is Allie, and I am the Customer Success Manager at Blanka. Blanka helps anyone start a makeup or skincare line in under 5 minutes. You can choose from hundreds of high-quality, cruelty-free beauty and skincare products to personalize and then drop ship online. With no minimum order quantity, anybody can start their brand with confidence, and Blanka will handle all of the product creation, warehousing, and shipping so you don't have to. Instead, you can focus on building your brand, which is what today's webinar is all about. We're going to share how to build an effective and successful marketing strategy for your beauty brand. So without further ado, let's get started. Today we're going to be covering first the importance of building your community. So we're going to talk about how it will impact your growth and profit, plus share real-world examples of how companies are currently doing it so you can implement those in your strategy as well. Next up, we'll go over how to create an engaging content strategy. So the types of content and style of content that's going to actually help you sell your products and gain traction on different social media sites. Which brings me into our third topic, which is leveraging social media. So we'll talk to you about what platforms are important for you to show up on and why, and how you can cross promote on multiple platforms without spending too much time. Lastly, we'll dive into the world of influencer marketing and how it can be so impactful for marketing your brand and getting more eyes on it. And we'll talk about how to implement it even with a small budget and how to tap into that strategy. All right, so starting off with building your community. Building a community is essential. It's not just about, the number of followers that you have on your social accounts. It's about creating an engaged community. So the key word is engaged here. Without engagement, you won't be able to influence or sell effectively because basically you'll just have a bunch of people who aren't really paying attention to your page or looking at it or wanting to learn more about it, which is not what you want. You want people who are coming back to your page and talking to you and liking your posts and commenting or watching your lives or checking your website out or your blog or opening that newsletter that you send. You want them to be interested in the content you're sharing and be a part of your community. Building a community is going to help you promote engagement on your social feeds. It's going to bring users closer to your brand and feel like they really resonate with it. It also increases brand visibility because if you have an engaged community, they're much more likely to share it and spread the word. And then lastly, it's going to foster trust and build trust in a market where there's lots of competition and lots of options out there. You want your users and community to really understand what you're doing, why you're doing, and believe in you and your brand. So we understand why building a community is important, but let's talk about how you can build this community. Starting with posting, a good rule of thumb is following the 80-20 rule. So 80% of your content should cater to your audience's interests, and only 20% should be promotional. So think about this like commercial breaks. You would never pick a channel on TV that only had ads. So when you show up online or in real life in your communities, think about what types of content your community would want to keep coming back for and share that, right? Nobody just wants to see what you're selling. They want to understand the brand and the story and get information and value from you. So make sure that you're doing that 80% of the time, and 20%, of course, you can always market and sell your wonderful products. With that being said, there are many ways to build communities, both online and offline. For example, you can host fun events. Blanca recently hosted some small events in different cities where we invited influencers to come and try out our products and chat with our team in person in a fun social environment, which went really well. However, if an in-person event isn't accessible for you, you can also think of lower lift tactics to foster community, such as hosting a Q&A on your Instagram Live. Bonus points if you collaborate with others in the space, because if you have another brand on your live, you're opening yourself up to their community and introducing yourself to them and vice versa, so it can really help boost your reach. And then also making sure that you're responding back to every single comment on your post, or even offering exclusive discounts for your followers. You'll notice in these different examples, they all have one thing in common, and that is that they add value to your community. Instead of simply just telling them what you want them to hear or asking them for something, you are giving something to your community. You're opening up the doors to foster a relationship. You're showing that you care about them and you're interested in what they are interested about. And that's what builds that trust and that loyal following. So these are just some examples. There are many ways that you can work to build a community, but just remember that you always want to start with how can I add value? Adding value is what will set you apart from the competition, and it's going to allow you to foster your own unique community. There are many ways that you can add value, but a main one is creating an engaging content strategy. So let's dive into the types of content you can create for your community to consume. Alrighty, so over the next few slides, I'll walk you through some real world examples of engaging content that you can create and add into your marketing strategy. The first up is educational content. What better way to sell your products than to educate users on the benefits of using them? So for example, I might not just want to buy your cleanser if you're telling me to buy it. I might want to know that I need to apply it in the morning and evening. And I want to know that if I let the product soak into my skin for at least 20 to 30 seconds before rinsing it off with cold water, that's what's going to help me reduce my breakouts, because there is a specific ingredient in there that you need to let sit on the skin before washing it off, and it's going to help me have brighter and clearer skin. To your consumer, right there, you are connecting with the reason of why they want the product and how it's going to help them, and sharing it in an educational light is going to appeal to that user to actually want to try out and test your products, because they understand exactly what it's going to do, and they're more excited about using it. So you can provide educational content through blog posts, videos, you can have photo outlines going over the ingredient benefits, or even do skin health tips. A lot of users aren't going to be just looking for cleansers to buy, but they are looking for how to reduce breakouts. So educating them on how to do that with your product is key. An example of a brand that does this really well is The Ordinary. So they approach educating customers about the product ingredients, and then also too how to protect their skin through detailed blog posts. So you can see here they have a blog on winterizing your skincare regime and even going over the science of hydration. The article is providing educational content to their consumer that's going to overall provide value and give the consumer and the member of your community a reason to purchase your product and feel connected and excited about it and see what it's going to do for them to help them get the results that they're looking for. Alrighty, next up is user-generated content, UGC. So user-generated content is the online equivalent of a word-of-mouth recommendation. The more you encourage your community to share your products with their followers or create content for you by posting how they're using your products, the more your audience will expand through these recommendations and your credibility will grow. UGC is the perfect way to build trust in the market because users are posting authentically. And one of the best ways to generate UGC is to encourage your current customers to post photos and reviews to enhance credibility and trust. Now, there are multiple ways to do this, but the most simple and effective one is to just simply ask. You can create, a branded hashtag online for your customers to use when they post about your products, or ask them to tag your handle. That will make it easier for you to collect the content and find it online. And there are tons of ways that you can ask your followers to do this. You can post on your Instagram story, or you can include a little insert card in your packages that you send out that says a little thank you note and has your social handles, and encourages them to want to post. If you're on the VIP plan at Blanka, definitely take advantage of putting insert cards in your packages. It's included on that plan, and it's an awesome way for you to say thank you to your customer for their order while also asking them to share their goodies on social. So, you'll want to include the Instagram handle, like I said, and the hashtag so they know how to tag you. And another really great way that you can encourage even more UGC creation is to consider also offering a giveaway in these insert cards. So, for example, you can say, if you post about us online, once a month we randomly select one of the posts and we'll give you a free product. It just kind of helps, again, with posting and generating that content from your actual clients who will be sharing their honest opinions about your products, and their following will then get exposed to you. So it's a win-win for everybody. An example of this is Drunk Elephant. They do a really great job of incorporating UGC into their content strategy by featuring customer reviews and before and after photos, which enhances the credibility of their products. You can use tools like Canva to create these comparisons, and then, of course, always ask for permission before you post these on your social channels, but definitely you can share them and tag the original user as well. And then lastly, live demonstrations. You can use live streams to demonstrate your products and answer viewer questions. This is a way to connect with your users in your community if you can't do it in person or at a store. It's a time where you can, tell your brand story or share more exclusive inside info that will help them connect with you, the brand, or the products. TikTok is a great place to host lives since you can use tools like TikTok Shop to easily sell the products that you use or talk about. And Blanka actually integrates with TikTok Shop, making it even easier to sell your products online. With all that being said, remember your online content should effectively communicate your brand's story and mission. Every major brand has a compelling story. If we think about Glossier, it's simplicity. Fenty would be inclusivity. The Ordinary for affordability and accessibility. You'll want to think about what is your brand story, what is the word that defines you, and then weave that throughout all of the content that you're sharing online. Alrighty, since we now know how to create engaging content, let's talk about the different social media platforms that we can leverage to share this content effectively and how and when and where we want to show up online. Not every social media platform is built the same, and they all play a different role in how to reach your desired audience. So, for example, Instagram was one of the most downloaded apps globally in the last year, meaning the reach on that platform is huge. On the other side of things, 50% of TikTok users have bought something after watching a TikTok live. And don't forget about YouTube, where the beauty industry exploded thanks to tutorials and reviews made by online beauty gurus. These platforms all cater to different demographics. So, for example, you'll likely find a younger audience on TikTok versus maybe an older demographic on Facebook and Instagram. So, you want to think about what you're selling and where your customer is likely to be. If you have limited resources, target the platforms where your demographic is going to be first, and then as you grow, you can start to expand into the other platforms. Kylie Cosmetics does a really great job at this. Kylie often, uses Instagram stories, TikTok, and YouTube for product launches and demonstrations. And it's important to note that you can repurpose content on multiple platforms to save time. So, for example, consider posting your TikTok that you made on your Instagram story, or do a quick teaser reel of new product launches, and then you can send your users over to your YouTube video going over the entire launch in detail. Jillian Harris does a really good job of this with her Jilly Box. They often will do an Instagram post teasing the different products. She'll mention them in her Instagram story. Then they'll have a blog post that goes over in detail and a YouTube video linked to that blog post so you can actually watch and see her demo the products on a video. So as you can see, you can really alter your content for the different platform that you're posting on. But again, if you are low for resources, think about just where your demographic is going to be. You can use analytics tools to figure that out and then focus on posting on those platforms to reach those users first. Alrighty, and last but not least, let's discuss influencer marketing. So, why would you want to use influencer marketing? Based off of the Digital Marketing Institute, consumers trust reviews and recommendations from friends and influencers, and 69% of consumers trust what an influencer says and recommends. So, landing an influencer or someone with a following to talk about and promote your products is huge because it adds that layer of trust that we were talking about at the beginning with building our community, right? If your demographic starts to see different people, whether that be in their family and friends group, maybe it's a major publication, and maybe it's an influencer talking about your product and promoting it, it's going to help build that trust, and that trust is going to help drive more sales. So, that being said, you don't need to work with major influencers. You can start small with nano and micro influencers who have loyal followings and are also way more affordable. Always check with the influencer and ask them to provide their analytics and demographics for you so you can analyze the impact of a potential campaign with them and who they have access to in the market. Of course, you wouldn't want to work with an influencer that doesn't meet your demographics. For example, if you were selling anti-aging skincare and then you were working with an influencer whose primary audience was Gen Z, you're probably not going to align the best with their audience. So just do your research in terms of demographics. However, nano and micro influencers tend to be more affordable, and there are lots of ways that you can collaborate with them without breaking the bank. So, for example, you can host a giveaway. Lots of times, influencers love to give free products to their community, and so by offering free products for them to give away and grow follower numbers on both social platforms is a win-win for both parties. You can ask them to create tutorial videos using your products for a fee, or you could even do live stories with them in exchange for free products. A great example of this is La Roche-Posay collaborates with dermatologists and skincare influencers to reach a wider audience while also promoting the products. This not only helps them sell more, but it also brings more users into their community because they are reaching out to obviously people who consult dermatologists and skincare influencers for advice and providing with them with products that they can recommend to their community. So it is a win-win. Above all, though, just make sure whenever you're showing up on your social media platforms, you're showing up authentically, you're telling your brand story, and you're trying to offer value to your community. That's what's going to keep your community growing and thriving, which in turn is going to help you with marketing your brand and getting sales. That wraps up our webinar on Marketing Your Beauty and Wellness Brand 101. We hope you found these tips helpful and feel more confident in launching and marketing your brand. Remember, you can create your own branded beauty or wellness brand with no minimums at Blanka. We take care of the drop shipping and product creation and fulfillment so you can focus on building your brand and making sales. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope to see you soon.